Stay tuned for another episode of the Coming Soon podcast with Spider.
Hello, everybody. Spider here once again. Coming Soon podcast coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. Being joined by another podcaster, of course, among other things, JJ Bidwell. How are you, brother?
What's up, man? Well, I'm a little creeped out. I just heard the crypt keeper talking to me there for a second. That's
Oh yeah, bro.
that's
Actually,
worrisome.
little cameo, man. That's probably why I keep getting hit by all these copyright infringement things, man. It's crazy. But yeah, man. But of course, my man. I mean, there's quite a bit I wanted to talk about. The last one, of course, is going to be this film that I actually saw at the theater, man. Dear Camp 86. So we're going to bring that up towards the end. But as far as yourself, you seem to have your hand in quite a bit, man. You're a busy individual, brother. So tell us, I mean, when it comes to being a producer, first off, man, how did that come about?
Well, I worked as a producer like once way back. It was kind of something we just kind of fell into. We found this little indie thing, if that's what you're talking about, I assume.
Yeah.
This little indie thing, and that was kind of the first thing that got my hands into film right after school. I always wanted to be originally a writer, but acting I also loved. I kind of also got thrown into an acting class in middle school. So that really kind of gave me the nudge to want to do it. And then, as you know, you're an actor as well. You do it and you get that little taste of it, and then you want more and you want more. It's like it's an addiction.
No, for
Just
sure.
Like
man.
Sugary sodas here with my squirt.
Oh, damn. Man, I forgot mine. So I got nothing. I'll drink some water, brother. But of course, man, I mean, you are in Michigan, bro. I'm here in Texas. Man, it's been crazy. I mean, Texas in general, we're like not that far from the sun for some reason. It's always freaking
One of
hot.
the very integral parts of this film we'll talk about, Joel Valley. He's in Texas, so
nice.
Maybe you'll come across him. Great filmmaker. Couldn't have made this film without him. So Joel Valley, look him up. He also is a gamer streamer.
Oh, dude, brilliant, bro. Definitely. That's another thing I'm going to bring up later also. But man, of course, I mean, you got into acting, you said as a kid or at a young age. But I mean, before that, were you thinking about getting into acting?
I was always kind of a latchkey kid, and I was kind of raised by movies and television, I was never the kid out active playing, Can I swear on the show?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure before I bite a hole in my tongue.
No, you're good.
Or my fucking tongue. No. I was never the one out playing, the sports and the throw. I was the one sitting home watching horror movies, watching sitcoms, and playing my Super Nintendo. So that was always kind of the thing that raised me, was the TV. So yeah, there was always that inkling that I want to do that. I want to make the magic that I watch,
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And that's one of the things. I mean, earlier you said you wanted to be a writer. I mean, were you writing as a kid?
Yeah, I have so many folders full of things I wrote as a kid, and I've written a few screenplays that I'm talking to a few people about.
Oh, nice.
I wrote a sitcom pilot or two that I'm, hoping to do something with.
Wow.
But at this point in my career, and I have been doing film and indie stuff mostly for almost 20 years now. I was just talking to a buddy. I think 26 will be 20 years. So
wow, man.
It's I'm still waiting to make it, as they say, but it's just something that I love.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I've seen enough films to know what I want to see. So writing has always been right up there. And I, of course, always write something for myself. So hopefully one of these days, one of these, takes off.
That lucky lotto number, man.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and when it comes to something like that, man, because of course people talk about going viral, about getting that one hit. A lot of times, I mean, for the most part, it happens when we least expect it, man. I mean, it happens just the right person sees it, and boom, it just freaking goes, haywire. Let me ask you this, because a while back somebody had asked me, they were like, man, I mean, would you rather go viral and get that one hit, or would you rather go through years of networking and finally making it big? And with something like that, I mean, what are you thinking, man? What would you take? I mean, you've been there 20 years, so
I've been doing it so long that viral wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Yet I've been working on the little things here and there since before even YouTube existed, which is weird to think about. I have a video I think I submitted for, if you remember, The Mind of Mencia, the Carlos
Oh
Mencia
yeah.
show. I made a freaking video for that and submitted to some contest. And it's, I think, the first thing I ever uploaded on YouTube. It was some, like, he was always about the rants and shit. So it
Oh
was
yeah.
some rant, like 30-second rant, and it was in some contest or something. So it's weird that, like, we were like, what the hell is this YouTube thing, So I've done it. I've known so many people and I've made so many relationships that you still do go, is one of these going to pay off sometime? So yeah, but you meet the right people. I've met amazing people doing this all these years. I've made some of my best friends are people I've met on some indie film, 10 years ago. And whilst the movie may have not done a lot, these relationships, they hold strong, especially in Michigan with the not so big film industry we have,
You gotta hold on to what you got, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man, earlier I was gonna show you these real quick, man. You brought up, of course, you brought up Super Nintendo, but these are my 3D prints, bro.
Oh hell yeah!
And,
who's that signed by? Michael?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
And so every time the promoters here locally, or in Texas, man, they bring guests. I always get one done, so I get different guests.
Pet Cemetery. I was just on a horror podcast a couple days ago, and we were talking about movies that scared us. That bitch Zelda scared the shit out of me.
I know. You know what's funny, man? I actually met the actor that played Zelda right here a couple of weeks back, and I didn't think about it till that day of, and there was a couple of like gamer stores there at the mall, and I was looking for a freaking Zelda game because I wanted him to sign it. It was just stupid, right? But I was just like, damn, I couldn't find one. For the love of me, I couldn't find one, man. But yeah, dude, that image, bro, you can't not unsee that stuff, dude. That was crazy.
Very few things scared me as a child. Zelda scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. You see, and then one thing that freaking blew my mind was it wasn't until they were bringing them in that I realized that it was played by a guy. It was a guy playing there, and I was just like, dude, I had no freaking idea, man. So that just made it even more frightening.
I didn't know until one of the Blu-ray or something had a bonus feature, and I was like, well, that's them? What? Like an interview with them. I was like, oh shit.
You're like, who the heck is this? Yeah, dude. But yeah, definitely that's one of them, man. I didn't even. Yeah. Now I'm gonna be thinking about that all day. So thank you for that, brother.
You're welcome. My nightmares are your nightmares.
There you go. But yeah, man. But of course, when it came to writing, of course, you said you started at a young age. You tried, or you are trying to sell some of these films as far as ideas.
Yeah, I'm talking to a handful of people. It's always about the money. Unfortunately, it's always I try to write for things we can afford, but you know how it's easier to make movies now, but it still costs some scratch. So it's all about meeting the right people and raising the right amount of money. So
definitely, man. And yeah, bro. But the podcast, because you brought up the fact that you were going to write for a possible sitcom. So of course, the podcast itself. Tell us about the name, who came up with it, and how long have you guys been doing this, bro?
Well, I had a show years ago that I started in like 2013. Podcasting was much easier back then, let me tell you. Even though you had to, create your own RSS feed, it's not as easy as it is now, where you can just, hey, here's a link, I remember for months going, how the hell do I get on iTunes? What the hell is this? But no, so that show kind of ended in, I don't know, 2017 or something. And a few years back, I met my buddy Nick Franco. Shout out to you, my co-host for my new show. I met him in Jersey at a Kevin Smith event, and we just started chit-chatting about bullshit. And it's like one of those things where I would reference a show from the 40s or 50s, and he would know exactly what I was talking about. He's the first person who would ever could keep up with me on my stupid TV knowledge.
Yeah.
So I was like, what should we do for a podcast? And originally I was thinking, well, maybe I can, get him to talk to me about video games or horror movies. But quickly it was like, I think TV. So, and when I looked it up, whilst there was a lot of podcasts about individual shows, I found very few about all shows. So I was like, let's do a sitcom podcast. And we sat there for about 2 hours on the phone trying to come up with names, and everything we thought of was taken.
Oh yeah.
So we're like, what the, and I jokingly said, well, why don't we fuck it, let's just call it Sitcom My Face. And we both laughed for like 45 minutes. And I was like, I guarantee no one took that name. Sitcom My Face. So that's it's
Right.
Sitcom My Face, a situation comedy podcast. We've been doing it. I think we're on our 3rd season, so about almost 3 years. Yeah, it's very fun, and it's it's fun to sit back and watch some of these shows that you may not have revisited since you were a kid. We're about to do an episode on Sanford and Son, so
Nice.
to go back and just revisit. We just did Welcome Back, Cotter, like just
I
to go
saw that.
back
I
and
saw that.
feel those things that you felt as a kid laying in bed watching Nick at Night. It's just fun to dissect those things and to learn some of the weird behind the scenes stuff that you don't always think about. We did Steve Harvey's show, and I'm like, I love this show. And then I learned that the kid who played Romeo was murdered by, like, I was like, oh. So
damn.
you find out these little things that, gives you something to chit chat about. But yeah, it's been fun. And hopefully we'll do it forever.
No, I mean, and that's one of those things too, like you said, because I mean, the fact that you guys got each other's humor, I mean, that's a plus. I mean, being able to laugh and put a lot of punts, when it comes to jokes too. Because
he reins me in. I'm the worst person for interviews for anything, especially movie promotion, because I've been podcasting so long that I just, you have diarrhea of the mouth when you get into stuff like this. So I probably say some shit I shouldn't say, but I'm just candid like that. So, no, he helps me rein me in. If I go a little too far or make too dirty of a joke, he's like, "Hey, asshole." All right. I'm like, oh yeah.
He's like, we're getting canceled. Thanks.
Yeah, he's the good kid, and he helps me steer the boat the right way.
Yeah, but that's always great though, because even for me, I mean, there's a few people that get my sense of humor, and a lot of them, of course, are going to be like 80s kids or 90s, when it comes to humor, TV. I mean, the same thing. I always tell people, I mean, here in San Antonio, man, I said I speak 3 languages. It's English, Spanish, and TV shows. Right?
Yeah.
Because my kids, I mean, they grew up with my sense of humor, man. So my youngest, for the most part, like she's at that level where she'll say stuff and I freaking laugh my ass off, bro. It's just like, okay, yeah, I get you, kid. I know where you got that from, and
that's the hardest part of trying to date at my age. I go on a date and these women don't understand the movie references I'm talking about. I'm like, come on, girl.
Yeah, next.
Yeah, damn it.
Maybe you should do an episode on dating, bro. That'd be interesting. I mean, of course, sitcom, but you got the
dating as a pop culture enthucast. Yeah, that'd be that could be a whole show right there. Shit.
Dating show, man. You can do it on the dating show, man. Why not, bro? Get a couple references. But of course, I mean, I haven't done videos since before YouTube. I mean, I've been watching it since forever. I can't recall exactly what year that it popped up, and I was like, oh, okay, you can go to this YouTube thing and watch videos and all that. I mean, I can honestly say I'm older than Google, which most of us are, with that sense of humor, I'll say. But for me, I mean, technology kind of it passed me up, man. I mean, it was one of those things where my oldest, she had a phone before I did, a cell phone before I did, and her going through it, and I mean, life was simple, man. I was doing good, and she ruined me, after seeing her on this little magic, mechanism that she had in her hand, and I started like, man, maybe I should get one, and I did, and made life a little more easier, but a little bit more complicated, man.
My first phone in school was that little clam-looking Sprint phone. It was about this big, and it was just like my mom's hand-me-down to pick me up after practice or whatever I was doing after school. You go to the football game. Here, call me on this thing. And you're like, how the fuck do I even use this thing?
You see, for me, I used to we used to get on this payphone, and I used to call my mom collect, and I would before the operator will get in there, I'd be like, Mom, I'm ready, pick me up.
Yeah.
And this is what she used to answer in, bro.
Yeah, exactly. My grandparents always had that. Or the rotary. They even had the rotary for a while.
Oh yeah, bro. That's that one I couldn't find. This one was actually my mom's old phone, man. I mean, she stopped using it, so I was like, man, I'm gonna keep that bad boy.
Do you remember, speaking of your collect call thing, do you remember that commercial that was big for a while? The "Atta baby eats a boy."
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Call him "Atta baby eats a boy." Yeah, that's how they tell their parents.
Man, those are things that a lot of these youngsters aren't gonna get to live, bro, because it was wild, man. I mean, we had to find the payphone first off, one that worked, one that wasn't broken, that wasn't taken. I mean, it was tough. I used to skateboard a lot, middle school, high school. So we'd end up in neighborhoods that we shouldn't have been on, man. I mean, so far away from home, and it's like trying
We just
to.
wandered the neighborhood. Yeah, they didn't. My mom always said, "No one's gonna kidnap your fat ass." Like, okay, just fucking wander the street.
Later, man, bro. But yeah, I mean, great times, bro. I mean, growing up, even now, I still skateboard. I still suck like I did in the '80s, but I still get on that thing and try to do a couple of tricks. But life, like I said, it wasn't as complicated. Things kind of sped up now. We're a lot more. I mean, for myself, and this is for me, I'm a little bit less patient. I can't sit around and just wait on people. It's like if they're not ready, I'm like, boom, I gotta go do something else, man.
I live in a weird life where my grandparents were born in the 20s. They'd had my mom very late. So I don't know anyone else in my life who's had grandparents that old. And so they had my mom when they were 40, and then she had me at 23. So they were already well into their 60s by the time I came around. So I think that actually helped with my love of like classic movies and TV
Yeah,
too. Because I'm sitting around with grandpa watching I Love Lucy, which how many kids
they're like,
would ever do? Yeah. I'm watching Jeopardy with grandma and the Golden Girls and I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke Show with grandpa. So
no, you see, but that's one of the things, and I was going to ask you where that came from, because for myself, my siblings, I mean, in the '80s, my older sister was maybe like 10 years older than us, so she was still stuck in the disco era, So we listened to Saturday Night Fever and and a lot of Motown. We listened to a lot of different music,
I
man.
love Motown.
Yeah, man. So it's like I fall in love with a lot of great stuff, man. And when it comes to like old sitcoms, I mean, we didn't have cable as a kid, so we used to watch a lot of reruns. So of course, Sanford and Son, Gunsmoke, you name it, man. It was just like a lot of classics, and because of that, I kept a lot of that sense of humor, So it just kind of it's one of those things that a lot of people don't get, and even now you got to kind of be careful what you say, because some people might get offended by it, and it's just like, man, that's my sense of humor, man.
Sometimes I go, God, these kids don't know classic movies and TV. But then I think, look at how much shit there is to consume now. Yeah. We came up, even in the 80s, there was so much less to worry about having to watch.
MTV only had like four videos at one time.
For the first, I don't know, 8 years of my life, I owned 3 VHS tapes, and I just watched those same tapes every day until my mom was ready to burn them.
Yeah. Or that, or if they didn't self-destruct, right? Because they didn't last forever either, man.
I had Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Gremlins 2, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Those 3 movies I watched every day for the first 8 years of my life. Until I got, a little older. I was like, oh, I can go find other things. Right. I don't have to wait for mommy to buy them.
You mean all I got to do is call and they're sending me the movie? You're like,
right. Columbia House, sign me up. A penny a tape for 100 tapes.
You have brought something up earlier, and I was gonna say, man, Columbia, man. I said, dude, that thing, that was when I first started ruining my credit, man. That's what it first began, bro.
Yeah.
All of those tapes, and the thing about it, I mean, I mentioned growing up. I mean, of course, there was 8 of us, 10 with mom and dad. So
8 is enough, you might say.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the thing with that was that I ruined everybody's credit, because I was ordering tapes with my brother's name, my sister's name. I had all these other music, and nobody knew where I got it from. But
I had the video club, the book club, the CD club. It was a BMG, I think, had the music or something.
Man, I don't even have Sam's Club now these days, bro. I'm actually getting that for work, so that's actually my adult thing. I haven't had a Sam's card in never, so. Pretty cool, man.
We used to sneak in. Me and my stepbrother, we would just wait for a couple to walk in. We'd walk in behind them and pretend we were their kids. Yeah, exactly. And then go eat all the free samples.
Yeah. No, yeah, dude. I mean, where I work now, man, we have a little in-store. So they send us out there during the week to go and get, sodas and chips and all this stuff. It's a realtor store, man. So it's like, all right, I'll go out there, and on the way out, I always got to grab me that hot dog, bro. That and the pizza slice, because stuff delicious, man. But of course, I mean, the sitcom, I mean, you and your buddy, man, you guys do have a lot of, you guys have clicked, dude, because I was sitting through an episode and I said, okay. And it was actually the Welcome Back, Kotter, man. I was like, cool, man. I mean, I haven't watched that show in a while, so now I'll probably have to go through this thing called YouTube that we keep bringing up,
Yeah.
Watch some episodes.
Yeah, it's weird now because I feel like nowadays you got to spread yourself so thin to get people to watch too. So it's like we're on every podcast format, iTunes, Spotify, all of the little ones. You're on like even on like Internet Archive. You're on YouTube. You're putting shit up on Instagram now, and it's like you have to be everywhere. So it's harder to gauge how well you're doing because like some videos I'll look on YouTube and it's like, oh, I got like 20 views on a video because I'm not some hot streamer chick in a hot tub. I guess I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And then I go over on Spotify and we have a couple thousand. So it's like you never know. But then the same will be vice versa on some other website. It's like,
oh yeah, you see, and that's kind of where I'm at too, man. Because the YouTube channel, I mean, I go on there live every once in a while, and I'll get like 3 people that link on while I'm on there live. But for the most part, I guess it's just it's a lot easier because even now, like I do post on like the videos I do post on Instagram. I use clips for TikTok, and some of them get freaking massive hits, man, and some. Just depends who's on, I guess, at that time. But I mean, you gotta kind of, see what's out there too, man, because a lot of the age gaps. I mean, some people dig it, some don't. There's some younger people on TikTok. Not everybody. I mean, I'm on there, so of course, you got a couple of old folks on there as well. But yeah, it's.
When I started my first podcast, it was all about promoting on Twitter. Twitter was the big thing. Yeah. That's how you promoted. I would post an episode and it would have, 1,000 views in a minute and a half because people were actually clicking the link.
Yeah.
That ain't the case anymore. Twitter Kids is now X. I don't know if you have to specify that. So, for many years I was just using Twitter and it wasn't doing shit after a while. And I was in LA in 2022. We had a festival thing and I'm meeting all these people and they're going, "What's your Instagram? What's your Snapchat?" I'm like, I'm almost 40. I don't have those things. I don't know. I don't even know how to fucking use them. I'm just now getting into Instagram, trying to figure out. I'm like, it's just the same shit as Facebook. I don't understand the difference, really.
I know, man.
But it's like, okay, I guess I'll try it. And I've been told a lot that it's a good way to promote, and we'll see. I'm just getting into it, so.
Oh yeah, man. Because even myself, dude. Like, I mean, where I work at now, there's actually we have a media. Not company, but it's like in-house. So we got youngsters out there that do all the videos, and like I'll catch them in between. I'm a building maintenance, so I'll catch one, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, like I got this question," and they're like, "Oh yeah," and they start talking all these words. I'm like, "Bro, you know what? When you get a chance, go down there and let me explain it to you, man, because I was like, I don't get it." But it's a new era, man.
And I also kind of hate the short form, like. I'm into this. I'm into long conversations, getting to know people and learning their likes and dislikes and discussing movies and shit. So when I get 10 seconds of a thing, I'm like, oh, that was it? Okay.
You're like, all right, I'm out of here, guys. See you later.
Well, not to mention, how many times do you put something on like a podcast to do things? You listen to it, but you do things while you're listening to it.
Yeah.
If I'm constantly having to switch the fucking video every 10 seconds, I can't do anything else,
You see, and that was one of the things initially. I did want to do audio in the beginning, and but then like people were like, "Hey, who are you talking to?" Or "Hey," and so I was like, "You know what?" And so I started putting the camera on my guests because I had a studio. So I said, "Okay, you know what? I'll put them on there." And then people were like, "Hey, well, who are they talking to?" And I'm like, "Crap, dude!" Like, you know what I mean? So I couldn't please everybody. So when I found StreamYard, of course, I jumped on there and easy setup. Like like you said earlier, it's not as. So I don't know. Did you say it was easier back then, or it's easier now?
It was harder to make and distribute the show, but it was easier to get people to listen to the show, if that makes sense.
Oh, yes,
because there was so many less shows. Now everybody has a freaking podcast or 6. How many comedians have 8 podcasts each,
I know. Yeah, bro. I actually got 2 myself, man, so I'm not going to say much. But yeah, man, I cover events with this one, which is Coming Soon Podcast. You thought you brought up the name as far as when you guys were going through it. My thing with me, my brother Braxton, man, we were like, man, what should we name it? And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna put Coming Soon, and we'll figure it out later. And like the more I kept looking at it, I was just like, Coming Soon. And I said, dude, that's a keyword. Like I'm real big when it comes to keywords. So Coming Soon Podcast, I was like, boom, it was available. I checked, boom, I bought that sucker and.
And it's probably an easy thing to pop up in searches. Everyone's always going, "Oh, movies are coming soon," or whatever,
Oh yeah, dude. And that's one of the things, like you said. I mean, when it comes to analytics or numbers, I'm looking at streams and some of them, I mean, they go crazy, man. I'm like, damn, like my website gets like over 130,000 hits, bro, and I'm just like, man, why isn't everybody go to my YouTube and freaking subscribe, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
you said and done, man. But it's great. It's a great platform. I mean, I've been enjoying it. I've been bringing guys like yourself, actors, producers, writers, and it's a little bit of everything, man. But everything boils down to being an artist,
As long as you enjoy it. I mean, I wouldn't do these things if I didn't enjoy them.
Yeah.
Podcasting is just fun. Like once a week or once every other week, get to hang out with a buddy, and we'll have guests on occasionally and chit chat about a show you love, or even better, sometimes more fun if you hate the fucking show. I like to torture Nick. Like I'm a little younger than him, even though I'm much older than probably most people watching this. I like to torture him with the shows I grew up with. Like I made him do like Clarissa Explains It All and shit like that. And he's just like, why?
Man, you see, I think was that the show? There was a show that was going on in the 90s where they were doing everything on video. They were doing like a YouTube channel. Everything. God, I can't remember the name of it. Somebody made fun of Strickland, the fighter, because they were like, man, he stands like what's her name, and I'll think about it later. But it was one of those things where I was just like, damn, why wasn't it I on that? I mean, it was a show that my younger brothers were watching, but I would see it
like iCarly or something like that.
There you go, man. That's a show.
Is that the one? Yeah, I think that was even later. That might have been like early 2000s because that was after my time, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like it makes you realize, like, damn, this stuff was going on even before then, and it's just why we didn't jump on it earlier. I mean, for me, I was just busy. I was real big in music and going to shows, and I had a zine. I don't know if you're aware what that is. It's just like an underground. Actually, this bad boy right here, man. But I used to go to Kinko's here, Z-Rocks. I used to freaking interview musicians. I used to write these musicians letters, bro, outside the country, and wait like freaking 2-3 months for them to write back and put it on on a zine, an issue, right? But yeah, that was like mid 90s, I think, man. So
like a self-published magazine, kind of.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
And the thing about it is that this bad boy, this was my first issue. No, this is issue number 2. But when I did the first one, I started contacting like music labels, and one of them actually wrote back, and they're like, hey, or they called me, and I put my number, and the guy's like, hey, I'm in New Mexico, like, hey, how's the punk rock scene out there? And I said, dude, it's pretty big, man. We got shows like every week, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna send you a box with an invoice. Can you sell it and send me the money back? So that's when I started getting into as far as like finding out how much stuff really costs. When it came to when they were selling it cheap, man. And so I started getting merchandise from like 5 different labels all over the country, man. Germany and England and New Jersey, and all of them were like, hey, how much for an ad? They wanted to put money on my handmade freaking zine, and I'm like, just send me some records, bro. Like, I mean, we're good. So they used to send me doubles. And shit, I have a big vinyl collection, bro, and I just kept it, But it was fun. It just kind of opened my eyes to a lot as far as doing interviews, and even back then, just taking photos, which were crappy. It was just like freaking. I had to go and develop them and wait like 2-3 weeks for them to come back and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I bet you too, with like the rise of digital advertising and I bet you printing shit like that's even more expensive now than it probably was then.
I would imagine, bro, because there's a magazine in Austin, which is like an hour away from here, and the guy he actually does pretty well. But I've been trying. Actually, I think I have his logo right here on my hat. But I mean, I've been wanting to get on there and do a couple of reviews, and just to kind of throw in my 2 cents. But the fact that he still gets it going, I'm like, dude, that's freaking genius, dude. Because I would love paper format. I'm big on magazines. I mean, I still have VHS and freaking DVDs right behind me.
Yeah, so I have 6,000 movies in my collection. I have a problem. I know I have a problem. That's still a problem.
Yeah.
It's still a problem.
I had my shed. I had like Blockbuster shelves. I had signs. Yeah. I had everything and anything, man. And I sold it. They pulled the number on it, and I'm like, hey, so much. Take the whole damn thing, empty it out. They came by and took it, man. I was kind of. It was one I kept a lot of my personal, but it's just for the most part, I was just like, man, I got carried away, man. So I'm kind of.
I recently moved to a much smaller place, but I still have a storage unit that looks like a Blockbuster. I have Grand Videos shelves from when they closed and all that shit, all the signage and yeah.
I had the rug that actually a buddy of mine in Alaska sent me from the store out there. I had the big, Blockbuster. I had the big, huge freaking corporate flag that used to hang outside in the pole. And
Mm.
that one I actually bought through a guy here locally years ago, man. And it's just those things that I was just like, man, you know, I kind of felt like if I don't buy it, somebody's going to take it and tear it up, or you know what I mean. So I just kind of felt like I had to, but they moved on. You know, they're kind of better, you know, better people, and they're taking care of them. So I'm like, cool, man. But nostalgia, man. I mean, that's what I'm about. All my posters. I mean, even like the name itself, coming soon. You know, it's like going to the video store and seeing the poster, hey, coming soon, the VHS. I'm like, dude, love, you know.
That's why whenever I work on a movie and they go, it's coming to physical, I'm like, yes, because I would much rather own a Blu-ray and have it in my fat little hand than watch it on Netflix, you know.
Man, you see, and that's Blu-rays, dude. I still do not own a Blu-ray. I'm gonna start buying them only because, of course, a lot of people were like, man, there's a lot of behind the scenes footage, and I'm like, dude, I had no idea. So I'm like, yeah, now I got to start picking these up. You mentioned the Pet Cemetery. Was that on the Blu-ray as well?
Yeah, I believe it was an interview with a couple of the actors on there. The 4K is out now. There's a beautiful 4K set.
Sweet, man. You see, yeah, I'll definitely start. I'll have to get another shelf and start my Blu-ray collection, but why not?
If
man?
you are an 80s horror fan, which I presume you are based on this conversation, for these 4K titles they're doing for some of these classic 80s movies, it's incredible the detail you can get out of that. The film grain, you feel every imperfection, but it just makes the movie that much better. Like the fog and those kind of things you see in these definitions, you're like, oh, Christine, all the Carpenter movies look incredible on 4K.
Damn.
Like just that film grain comes out and it just nothing makes you realize, oh, I'm watching a gritty 80s horror film.
You see, and I was gonna ask you about that. I was gonna say, do they clean it up? Because I would have hated that, bro.
That's the thing, is you look up the reviews, most of them they're good. I know like Terminator 2, I think there's a lot of bad copies of that out there where the studio tried to fix it and it looks all waxy. You just gotta look at a few of the reviews, but yeah, a lot of the classics. I know a few people complained, I think, about Poltergeist, but I thought Poltergeist looked pretty good.
Damn.
But you know, it's all about opinion, you know.
No, yeah, and of course, I mean, you know, for me, it's like I'm that guy. Like I still have a turntable. I got my album, my vinyl, like I said. So when I put it on there, like I like to hear that little skip, the little white noise,
the little hiss. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. That always like, oh, okay, there you go. You know, so I mean, but I dig it, man. I mean, for those that are watching, of course, you know, the collecting vinyl, dude. I mean, that's one of my other things. I mean, I collect pretty much everything, bro, which can be a problem, of course, you know. But
that's where I'm at. I'm trying to sell shit, but it's too hard. I keep buying more.
Yeah, that's it. Same with me. I like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of these, and then I'm like, damn, I got to put something up there. It's empty.
I got all these horror figures, all these NECAs and McFarlanes, and it's like, I finally can work up the nerve to get rid of one, and then I see another one. I need that one. I'm like, damn it! Well, what's the point? What's the point?
Man, my thing is this, bro. Like, I've been collecting. I have a lot of vintage, but my biggest thing was collecting bootlegs, like knockoff toys. Preferably from Mexico, but I mean, there's some from all over the world. But look at this Mexico Hulk, man. It's like a freaking see-through. It's got like a little light in the back.
His pants look metallic.
Oh yeah, dude, I love it, bro. I found them actually a while back, a couple weeks back, and I was like, damn, I gotta. As soon as I saw it, I was like, dude, that's a bootleg. I was like, hell yeah. So I had to pick it up, man. Give it a home.
That's Bruce Bunter.
Man, bro. Some of the stuff, the names they come up with, man, it's freaking ridiculous. But I think that's why I love it even more. You know, it's just kind of the humor.
You buy like some shitty Bart Simpson toy from France, and it's like Bart Sampson or Brat Sampson.
It's like something, not Karamba.
Yeah.
But man,
don't have a camel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bro. But let me ask you. I mean, when it comes to, of course, you know, being a producer, you already stated, you know, it's just was it a one-time thing, or are you still?
Yeah. Basically, it was just that was a little indie thing. Yeah, I would like to do more of it. The producers have a lot of jobs. So I would love to direct too at some point. Directing is also very hard. My hat off to all these directors, because these people, they work their ass off, and they got to wrangle idiots like me. I'm so sorry, because I see some of the work these guys put in, man, and gals. It's not easy. No, and I think as an actor, I'm too lazy for that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be there when I get there, man.
Yeah, maybe one day.
when it comes to the parts that you've gotten in movies, man, I mean, what was the first one that you were able to jump on?
Let's see. I think my first starring role was a short back in like 2010, and I got to play a very Buck-like character, actually, a very crass, rude. It was actually written for a thin black guy, which made me laugh. I went into this audition, and there was a hillbilly part and this like pimp part.
Yeah.
And the pimp part was so much funnier. So I go in there and I was like, "Can I read this one instead?" And they looked at me like, "Okay, dude." And they just died laughing, and I ended up getting it.
Oh, damn.
So that was what did it end up being called? Save the Date, I think it ended up being called. It was a short. And then I just started doing a lot of student films for a lot of years. I did anything I could just to build a reel and a resume, and that speaks for you before you ever enter a room. So I learned that pretty early. If I can send you a resume and it's got 30 projects on it, they're more likely to entertain your nonsense. Because if you're working on student films and stuff, a lot of people don't have any experience.
Yeah.
So even a lot of the indie films I worked on were first-time filmmakers who just wanted to make a movie with their friends, and I would come in maybe expecting a little more professionalism, having a little more, experience, and was often the one with the most experience on set. So it's always fun. Yeah, yeah. I worked I won't say who, but I worked on one thing. I don't think it was ever even released, where the director was he had rented this amazing location for thousands of dollars a day and was making this movie, but it was crumbling in front of him, and it was so obvious that he had no idea what he was getting into, that he was literally, instead of saying cut at the end of takes, he was going, "Fuck it, moving on. Fuck it, moving on." And I'm sitting there going, like, I can watch this guy's heart breaking, but that's the world of indie films. I feel like I've worked on a handful of things that never came to fruition, or you shoot half of a movie and it's just, oh, we lost the money. It's gone,
I know.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, man, and I get it, but I'm just like, man, like, I mean, easier said than done. I would never do that. I mean, I give it up, my hats off to everybody that does, because it's just like one of those things where you're in your head, you're like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do this location, these actors, but at the end of the day, it's like the money doesn't come in, you don't get half of that, and for me, I mean, because I've been filming a lot locally, and it's just I've got people, friends, people that volunteer, and I'm like, hey, do this or do this part, and nothing's up yet, but it is going to be on my YouTube, man. But it's just like, I mean, like real quick, in like no budget freaking videos, but I'm doing a lot of mashups. I'm getting like two movies and putting them together, and just real quick storylines, but it's a lot of humor, man. I mean, for those that don't get it, of course, it's going to be probably younger kids, but for those that grew up in the 80s and 90s, they're going to be like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. It's going to be one of those things. But yeah,
I worked on some vampire movie. I think we shot like a week, and then the next week they were like, oh, we'll send you the call sheets. And then they were like, "Oh, we're not finishing the movie." We're like, "We just shot for a freaking week on this thing. What are you talking about?"
You see, when it comes to stuff like that, do you get that footage?
I never did. I mean, I never really asked, I guess, but
yeah, man,
it was one of those weird things. You're like, there's 20 actors in this thing. We all went out to this, like, it was like a big farm. Like, there was a bunch of little cabins on this farm, and we were shot there for a week, and all of a sudden it was like, oh,
everybody go home. Yeah, man, that's crazy, bro. And I know for the most part, I mean, when people even now, like, they do the whole Indiegogo, and there's always that, like, man, what, like, I mean, I was told, like, you know what, make sure the movies are getting done before you start getting involved, and but I mean, the time frame, I mean, for people, it varies, man. It's from weeks to months to years for them to actually be able to get them out, and I mean, it's their project, so yeah, it's not gonna happen overnight for most of them, but a lot of people get them done quick, though.
I've had two or three projects like quit. It's like once you get there for like a day and you're like, I'm not dealing with your crap. And you're like, I'm out. And it's funny to see what happened to those every now and then. That's fun too, honestly. But if they recast you, or if they just never finish it, or
they're like, yeah, we'll use whatever footage they have and keep going, man. I wonder if that would have played out. Like, say if that the part where you said you got the line for that was supposed to be for a black man, if they would have filmed you halfway and then you quit, and then the next one they're like, man, let's just get a black guy in here, and they just keep going with the other person.
What wasn't there some movie where they changed the actors? I don't remember what the hell it was. Somebody made a movie, I think, where like each scene was the same character but a different actor or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
I'm gonna have to look that one up, because I mean, I know sitcoms. You know, maybe have you guys done that with the? Yeah, you see
all the different actors. Yeah,
they bring somebody else in and they kill somebody off or just fire.
The case of the two Beckys on like Roseanne and
yeah. Oh yeah, bro. There's plenty of them, man, and it's just one of those things where I guess as a kid you kind of notice, but you just keep going. You know, I mean, it's a family. I mean, you're lucky that's a TV family, so you just accept it and move on, man. But yeah, man. But bro, I mean, of course, dude. Before I even, not that I'm gonna forget, but I want to bring this up, man. Tell me about this. How did your part come about? How did they contact you?
Yeah, this is a fun little romp, as we call it, Deer Camp 86. 6 friends go out in the woods for a hunting trip, and even though we head north, some things go very south, is a fun way to put it. Yeah, this was a film. Honestly, like I said, I'd worked on so many little indie films here and there, and it's like I've always had a full-time job. Like I've worked the same job for 20 years now. And I'm fortunate in that job to have quite a bit of time off. So this film is in Michigan. You're not going to make a living on it, you know, unfortunately, right now, at least. Maybe with this incentive coming back. But it was one of those things where I work on whatever I can. I had just done a movie in, I think, Indianapolis called Mayberry Man. It was actually loosely based on the Andy Griffith Show. Just got back from that. I shot, I don't know, a week on that and came back, and a buddy from my childhood, shout out Jesse, what's up, bud? He had just added me on Facebook. I guess he ran into my mom. So this is one of those weird small world things. He ran into my mom, reconnected with me on Facebook, and he goes, my aunt just shared this casting call on Facebook. And he sent it to me, and it says, like, describing Buck, you know, heavyweight, a loudmouth drunk asshole. And I was like, I can do that. But again, it was like a childhood friend's aunt who I didn't know at the time shared this thing on Facebook. I'm like, it's going to be another little indie thing. So as the writer and one of the producers like to tell me, I just did the fucking audition like in a recliner and didn't really take it that seriously. I just kind of did the lines and recorded myself while I'm like rocking, and I just sent it out. And I think it was about a week later, I got a call and it was like, hey, you got the role. I found out someone had it before me.
Oh,
and I think I don't know what the deal was, but they ended up falling out, or I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was second choice or what. They won't give me any details on who it was or whatever, even though I want them. Someday I want them. So they were like, yeah, we need you tomorrow. Oh. Basically, like I think I had 1 day notice or something. You're gonna come out to the woods and you're gonna quarantine because it was during COVID. We shot it. You're gonna quarantine with everyone for 3 weeks while we make this little movie. And like I said, I had done so many terrible fucking movies. I was just like, all right, I guess. They're like, we'll pay you, whatever. Okay, cool. So I go out there and the table read. I remember going, wow, this is special. Like all the actors were amazing. Everyone on the crew was like the nicest people, you know, and you know, I talked about some of the other things with the non-professional. These are the most professional, kind, inviting people.
Damn.
And we did this table read in a cabin, and it was just like a party. Everyone's hanging out, getting to know each other. A lot of them already, like the crew, a lot of them already knew each other, but I didn't know any of the cast, you know. But I was like, I like to say, by the time we walked out of that room after the first table read, everyone's hugging like you had known each other for years, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave me like, okay. I don't know if you can see my dog back here, but he hung out on set. That was my other thing. They gave me such short notice. I was like, I got my dog, you know. They're like, bring him along, and they helped take care of my dog while we filmed the movie out in the, you know, how many productions would do that,
bro? Damn, that's pretty generous of them, man. Because of course, I mean, that was a good opportunity. So dude, I'm
Yeah.
glad.
So yeah, it was a weird thing where a childhood friend's aunt happened to be involved with the casting on this thing that was written for me without them even writing it for me. They never even knew.
They were like, "Why
They
did
didn't
you
know me, but they were like, we need a fat asshole, and they found one.
Man, and I gotta say, because in the movie itself, man, I was able to watch it here in the big screen in the theater, and I enjoyed it, man. I mean, the whole storyline. Growing up, I mean, for me, I'll say this: my dad was a hunter. He used to go out and he used to take my older brothers. At the time, I was a baby in the family, and they used to take me with them, but I would make so much damn noise that they stopped. I mean, they go fishing, and I'd be in the water swimming, and they're like, "Man, you're gonna stay with mom." And sure enough, they started leaving me behind, bro. So that's kind of it kind of worked out, man, because that's kind of where my whole I started watching telenovelas. My Spanish was already great, so I mean I'm bilingual, so I was able to read, write, and speak in Spanish. So, but saw a lot of shows that I wouldn't have otherwise. So I just stayed home and became a TV guy. Just freaking watching films and movies all day. And but yeah, man. But the whole storyline, man. I mean, it's a group of friends, and the fact that you were able to get to know everybody during those 3 weeks that you guys were quarantined. Of course, it helped because it shows in the movie. Everybody got along, everybody's laughing, everybody's just literally just having a good time. And I'm thinking, damn, okay, you know what? There's a lot of chemistry. The character build up. I mean, it was fun, man. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I enjoyed it. The whole going into the woods, and I won't give it away, of course. But I mean, you guys stumble upon things, and like you said, I think it was like the last part of the film where it starts getting where the horror starts kicking in. So
Shit hits the
like,
fan, as they say. Yeah.
there you go. But yeah, man. But those that are waiting to watch, because I don't think it's in theaters anymore. I think it's streaming only.
I think actually today is the last day at least in my area. I think
Okay.
some cities, we came out on May 31st.
Yeah.
And I think 150 to 200 theaters, something like that, which was pretty good for an indie film.
Nice.
We did well. And I know it was extended in multiple cities. So I think today is actually the last day here. I haven't looked in every city, but yeah, I think today is pretty much the end of it. And then we have the Blu-ray coming on July 9th. So.
No, yes, bro. Now, you know what? That's gonna be one of the first ones I'm gonna buy. I ain't gonna lie, dude, because I do gotta start that collection, so I'll definitely grab one. One of the things, I mean, of course, here locally, Regal Cinema, they actually sponsor me. I have one of the locations. They always give me a free admission, so I want to thank them because I'm able to go out there and enjoy a lot of these films. One of the things about this, because there was a previous, well, there's been quite a few, I mean, that make it to the theater as far as indie film. And the last one I went to there was like two people there, I mean, like myself, my girlfriend, and that was it. But on this one, there was actually a good group. I was just like, damn, there's people here, because a lot of times in indie films, people don't want to, I guess they don't want to risk it or be like, oh, I'm not going to go and pay for this. And they don't like it. But one of the things I've been telling people is, man, go out there and enjoy it. Watch it. I mean, whether or not you like it or not, I mean, at least go out there and support, because being an indie film and getting that opportunity to be on the big screen, man, I'm sure that's your goal. You see yourself in the big screen, and the fact that it was all over the U.S., man. I don't know. I mean, did it get international feed?
U.S. and Canada, I believe, is all we've done. We were in a few festivals.
Yeah,
if we were in like an Irish festival or something, but yeah, I'm not sure how many European or otherwise.
No, but dude, that's, I mean, shoot, man. I mean, for the most part, I know a lot of the indie films I've been a part of. They've been getting local love where wherever they're filming, they're out there and they're hitting the big screen. I wish I could make it just so I can see it and see my ugly mug on the screen. But the fact that they're out there, man, I'm like, heck yeah, dude. Everybody go out there and enjoy them, man. Take them for what they are.
Yeah, it was incredible. We did kind of a little tour to a bunch of different cities with this movie, and it was really cool to see it with different audiences. Like even when we went to LA with it at Scream Fest, it's a completely different audience than the people in Michigan who are deer hunters. So you have the people in Michigan who embraced it so heavily because deer hunting means so much to them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's me and my buddies drinking beers and hanging out. I've been doing that my whole life. But then you have people in LA who go, what the fuck is deer camp? And it's so fun to see them also experience that. And they go, you guys really do that? Well, ironically, I'm the only one in my family probably who never went hunting in my entire life. But I got to wear my dad's hunting coat the whole time we filmed the movie. He's passed. So I was channeling a little bit of him throughout the film.
Nice, man.
So
Well, that's good, man. Because of course, I'm not a hunter. I'm not gonna say, I'm not even that guy that goes out in the back and barbecues because I just can't. But for those that do, I mean, I appreciate it. My older brother's one of them, so I'm like every time he's like, "Hey, you coming over?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I don't have to cook. Go out there and eat.
well, and even the title, people not knowing what deer camp is, I know was a little bit of a hurdle on pushing the film in certain states because they don't understand deer hunting or deer camp, and it's like it's so funny. They almost changed it, I think, a few times. Like
Oh wow.
it was talked about, but I think in the end, I think Deer Camp 86 is just such a perfect, fun name, and it really is regional, which works a lot for the film, given the
No,
Michigan location and the locales and the beautiful fall that's featured in there for Michigan. Yeah.
no, man. And I was gonna say too. I mean, what's so specific about the year '86? Because I know in the film, I mean, it's just, I mean, back in the '80s. But I mean, was that like a big point in the movie when they made it?
I haven't asked the writer specifically, but I know that they are big into more of the 80s style of horror. I believe one of the writers had told me he was an Evil Dead fan, but they're not really into newer stuff. So
Uh,
the vibe I got was we like horror, but only the good, like, so I would reference a lot of shit that they just didn't understand what I was referencing. But I think they're like, I think Evil Dead was probably a big influence for them. So they kind of wanted to go back and they wanted it to have that grimier
oh
feel.
yeah, man, definitely.
In one of our screenings, they had actually mentioned something about kind of wanting to shoot it on film, but realized the difficulty in that pretty early and changed their minds. But
Yeah.
I can only imagine this would have been a cool kind of film to shoot on, that camcorder that
Yes.
JB uses throughout the film. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I like reading the script was so much fun
Yeah.
because you didn't know exactly. They're like, hey, it's a horror film, and then I'm laughing for 50 pages, and I go, why am I was like, this is awesome. Like, you don't usually get so much.
You're like, oh wait, I get stabbed. Oh shit. Okay, that's where it
Well,
comes in, man.
I love horror comedies,
Yeah.
but it's so easy to go into spoof mode. This one, I feel like, works for me. I'm a little biased, but I think it works for me because it's funny characters.
Yeah.
It's not spoofing
Oh
horror
yeah.
films.
Yeah.
It's a
I
horror
mean,
film based around funny, quote unquote, characters.
no, yeah, and I mean, of course, and then they have that sense of humor that hits a lot of people because, of course, I was watching it and I was laughing along because I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's just one of those things where I'm sure, like you said, in LA, a lot of people kind of like didn't know what the hell they were talking about or what was going on. But for all the cool people that lived life and enjoyed a lot of these older sitcoms in the '80s, '70s, even early '90s, man, I mean, they're gonna appreciate it, man. I mean, there was a lot put into it. I was gonna ask as far as the when they came to filming, because the filming was for 3 weeks, or was that just the quarantine?
It was a 3-week shoot. I think that I want to say it was like 16 shooting days. There was a couple days off or pickup days, but yeah, I think it was 16 to 21, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay. Sweet, man. One of the things I did read, and I was asking about the year because they bring up Mike Tyson, being the youngest heavyweight boxer. And I didn't look up if it was in '86 that he won that title, but they also bring up
Someone
Hiroshi.
says that in the movie?
It was on one of the interviews or one of the stories.
Oh, okay.
I was
I
kind
was
of
like, damn, I don't remember that line.
no, it was just on one of the reviews or something like that I was reading because I was curious about that. I was like '86. I wonder if the whole
You know what? I actually took the 86 in the title as fate for me because I was born in 86 and everyone else in the cast with me, I mean, my friends in the movie,
yeah.
they're all much younger than me. I know I look so young, but they're all much younger than me. So I think all of them are in their 20s, like, or maybe late 20s.
Yeah, bro.
I'm I'm 37. I think I always forget. You know how once you get to an age, you forget. So for me, I thought 86. Oh, perfect. The year I was born. Yeah.
Man, I was gonna say, I hold near and dear to my heart, man. I mean, of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it was filmed here, Bastrop, up the road, 1974. That's the year I was born. So I'm gonna be 50 this year, next month, And for me, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 50th anniversary, and I'm like, damn, every time I see it out there, I get a gray hair, man. It keeps popping up.
And you can go. Isn't that like is it a bed and breakfast or something now? A restaurant?
Oh yeah, it's a barbecue place, man. Yeah, they have rooms in the back you can rent out, and it's nice, bro. Went out there to eat for the first time with a bunch of my buddies. Had a great time. It's just going out there. They bring guests every once in a while to the actual gas station, so you go out there, hang out.
One of these days I will get out that way, and I will do the location visit. How far away is the remake house from the original house?
It is about 45 minutes to an hour because they moved the house to another location, which is now a restaurant. And
the original house.
Yeah. So I'll tag you on that one. I don't know if you're on their page, but they turned it into a restaurant. You go out there and eat, but it's like the house. They moved it, they bought it and rebranded. But the gas station itself, I haven't done the tour when it comes to the bridge and everything else, man. Because people keep posting, and I'm like, damn, I gotta go out there and do that myself, man.
Texas Chainsaw is one of those. I love it and I respect the shit out of it. I don't revisit it a lot because it's a hard one to sit through sometimes. You never feel good when you walk out of the fucking Texas.
Well, I was gonna say, man, because I love the original, of course, man. And
I got Leatherface right back here. I got that at was it Halloween USA or one of those?
Damn, man,
it's a little statue of Leatherface.
And of course, yesterday, man, I actually had Robert Mukes on here, and I mean, he actually got in the game.
I seen that. Yeah.
So
I watched a little bit of his interview. Yeah,
and that was, it's one of those things where me, it's like, dude, if I never made it anywhere, but somebody was like, hey, I'll put you on a coffee mug. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take it. I'm like, dude, I'll be happy with that. But the fact that he was able to jump on a game, I'm like, hell yeah, dude. That would have been like hitting the lottery for me. So definitely.
And Hitchhiker in the game is the guy from People Under the Stairs. I forget his name, but yeah, I was like, damn.
No, yeah.
I love the game when I can get a fucking match. Oh,
bro, and I was gonna.
If I could get in a fucking game, I'd love to play it. But
I was reading that, and I was just like, damn, you have to actually, invite people, because people are like, hey, I'm gonna play now, or I'm gonna do. And I was like, okay, what's going on there? I thought you could just go on there and start playing, but you need somebody else.
Yeah, it's just the matchmaking was so hard. And I played it when it first came out. We played the hell out of it for the first, 2 months. And I think they changed it, but you had to have a Leatherface. Yeah. And no one wanted to play Leatherface because he just got bullied in the basement all the time. So you couldn't get a fucking game because nobody would play Leatherface. And it was the most irritating shit. So I kind of gave up on it. But I've heard they changed that, so I'll have to go back and try.
Because I was reading up on it yesterday, and I was just like, man, I gotta get into that because I'm not a gamer.
Are you on PlayStation?
No, bro, like the last thing I played that I still have is actually what I was showing you, the Nintendo, bro. After that, I didn't pick anything up. I have like an old Atari game with like 64 games. I've got.
Oh, you can play the Texas Chainsaw Atari game then. There you go.
I know. I'm gonna have to hook it up, rig it somewhere. But yeah, man. But I'll definitely do it for that. I mean, just for so I can get out there and start playing because I wanted to do the whole stream thing. I have friends that get on there and freaking. I wanted to do it to kind of put it on this, but I wanted to figure out a way to do the old games. And I guess other than having the screen on the side and me playing it and dying like every few seconds, But I'll figure out a way, man.
There are retro game streamers. I would just go on Twitch and look up. There's a lot. I see a lot of people play like 60. I feel like they're probably using ROMs though, to be honest.
Oh yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, I get it, and I have friends that do that, and they, hey, I'll put 100 games on your, you can just hook it up to your TV, and I'm like, cool, but I want to go old school, man. Like I have an option to put a camera and face it the other way, so I might just go caveman and just face it towards my TV while I'm playing it. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be a
no, if you want to make it on Twitch, you have to have one cam on your face, one on your tits, and one on your ass, dude. That's how it goes, man.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
That's how Twitch works, man.
yeah.
That's the algorithm, baby. Oh.
I know that's how you beat it, man. And I get it, and that's everywhere, bro. I mean, me and my buddy have talked about that, and I'm like, man, I mean, and I get it, and more power to them. The ones that are out there getting what they want out of just TNA, But for the most part, I'm like, dude, if I had even 100,000 followers, I'm like, I'd be saying something. I mean, half these girls out there are retarded, can't even read a sentence, and it's crazy, And then the ones that can't read, I mean, of course, more power to them. They're out there doing their thing, but But yeah,
Hey, I'm not gonna say anything. My one true love has always been Kelly Bundy from Married with Children.
Oh yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, except for her, she's good. But man, as far as the guests, I've been going to these conventions, and I mean, do you guys get out there and like enjoy these conventions as well?
I kept joking with the team behind Deer Camp. I said, "Can you guys just make this a franchise? Because all I want to do is make a living going to conventions every weekend for the rest of my life." Just and I said, in the horror community, the only way to do that and make it a franchise, baby. Boom.
Oh yeah,
I will happily sit at a table for the rest of my life, just
here's,
signing my name. Yeah.
I always told myself if I start doing that, which of course who knows, but I was like I wouldn't sign it. I would get like an e-pad, put my handprint on the photo. I'm like, here you go, get my handprint.
I heard I think is it Bill Murray or Steve Martin? I'd heard for many years they got sick of signing autographs for people, so they made business cards and signed them. And whenever someone asked, they would just hand them and it says like, "Congratulations, you just met Bill Murray" or something.
Funny.
I was like, that's if you ever got that big, that would be the funniest way to go.
No, heck yeah, bro. Because I can imagine. I mean, I've got friends that actually fight in the UFC. They're professional fighters, and I see them out there, signing like hundreds and freaking thousands of freaking posters, bro. And I'm like, man, everybody thinks it's easy, but once you make it up there, you got to make appearances and do interviews, and so you don't get to really relax and just chill out till before the fight. Fight week is crazy, but yeah, man, I can only imagine, bro. Like I'd have to do something simple, thumbprint, like. I've gone to jail before, of course. I'll say it on there, but I'll put my thumbprint on there. Like, real quick, man. You get one of them. But yeah, man. But bro, I mean, of course, I appreciate you, man. And as far as your podcast, man, I mean, I would love to freaking jump on there sometime, man. If you guys would invite me, give me a heads up on what TV shows so I can do some homework.
We're gonna be best friends. I can tell. We're gonna keep in touch.
I'm telling you, man. Of course,
you're gonna get on some Texas Chainsaw or Killer Clowns, maybe on some video games with me.
So. Bro. You see, and I was able to. They're actually coming back. They got the Shoto brothers coming next month here, but some of the actors were here last year, man, and I was able to take my kids, so they enjoyed the hell out of it, and the fact that they grew up watching it with me,
One of my favorite comedians is Christopher Titus. I don't know if you remember him, but he had the show Titus, which I love too. We'll cover that on the podcast eventually when it's available somewhere besides DVD.
I know.
But one of his first things was he was in the very beginning of Killer Clowns.
Yeah.
At like the Lover's Lane part. Yeah. So when the first time I met him, I brought him that DVD to sign, and he was like, "Holy shit!" He's like, "No one has ever asked me to sign this."
No, because I saw him at the it was in Bastrop at the Cult Classic, and he was out there hanging. I forgot who he was hanging out with, man, but I got to meet him. I was just like, "Hey, man, how's it going, bro?" And I brought that up because I had no idea till like I think a month before that event, and they were like, "Yeah, he was in Killer Clowns," and I'm like looking at his face, going like, "Dude, no, he wasn't. Like, I can't." And of course, backdrop extra or whatever. And I was just like, when they showed me,
those big old glasses, right?
Yeah. So I said, "Oh, okay, now I know." But I was just like, "Dude, that's pretty cool, man." Able to cameo in that bad boy.
I met two of the Chioda brothers at Grand Rapids Comic-Con one year. I actually got a nice poster signed, and they were talking about working on. I thought they were talking about working on the sequel. So I hope someday. God,
I know, dude, and that's the thing too, because some of the actors that were there, they had 4 actors at the mall last year, and they were like, "Man, we're ready to go." Like, I've already pitched them a storyline. Yeah, there you go. I had the Muppet somewhere. I don't know. They probably came to life and were walking around somewhere, but hell yeah, dude. But that's one of the things I was going to ask him, because it is going to be inside a mall. So my question to them is going to be like, "Hey, if you guys do make the sequel, can we film some of it here inside this mall?"
Yeah.
Get the extras, bro. Definitely, I would love to be on that, man. That would be my golden ticket, bro. I would love that. But we'll see, man. But bro, appreciate you, man. Thank you for jumping on this. I mean, of course, a great conversation, man. Appreciate your TV humor, among other things, man. This film. I mean, of course, for those that are out there, if you haven't made it out, by all means, Deer Camp 86. Like you said, it might be the last day. Wait till the Blu-ray comes out. And you said, what day was that for the Blu-ray?
The Blu-ray and DVD comes out July 9th. Should be everywhere. It's already up on Amazon and Walmart and Bull Moose and all that. You can pretty much anywhere you buy your movies. And if some cities may still have it in theaters if you're interested in supporting it that way. just go to www.deercamp86.com.
That's good. And of course, I mean, if they buy the DVD, you'll be at a convention doing autographs, right? You'll sign it for them.
Yes, yes,
There
I
you
will.
go. There you go.
And I won't charge you $80 like some people.
I won't go there, but yeah, man, it's getting crazy, man. But bro, I appreciate you, man. Of course, I'm gonna be signing off. JJ Bidwell, my man, thank you very much for jumping on here. Everybody, make sure and follow the guy up. Check out his IMDb, among other projects. I'll be putting the links on here. This is Spider once again, Coming Soon Podcast. Till next time.